Hi, everybody. Willie here with Sharkfin Shears. Thanks for joining us. The real Joey Blades on the other side. Going to throw down some barber education for us today. We're just going to wait. Welcome everybody on for a couple of minutes. Make sure everybody has time to get logged on, get comfortable, get your notepad, get your head sheets, get out your camera and record however you want to do it. Thanks for joining us. We will be recording this session, and it'll go up on our YouTube page and our website. So it'll be up there within probably 24 hours, just so you know. Hey, you're in New York, right, Joey?
Yeah, Rochester, New York, upstate.
Finally getting some nice weather, man.
Yeah, it's about I think like 70 out there. It's probably like 70. We're skateboarding all morning, so getting that weather in.
That's what's up.
Oh yeah.
Again, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're just taking a couple minutes here to make sure everybody can get logged on. There's no complications, and then we'll get the class going. So thanks for hanging in there with us. You do have, excuse me, let me start over. The attendees, you do not have audio and video in a sense of we cannot see you or hear you. So if you have questions, please ask them in the chat, and I'll facilitate the questions to Joey.
Questions are good. Make sure you ask them.
Yep.
No such thing as a stupid question either.
No, most likely if you're thinking it, someone else is thinking it.
Definitely. 10 other people are thinking it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's get going. We're a couple minutes after. So my name is Willie. I'm the Director of Education for Sharkfin Shears. I just want to say thank you for joining us. We have an amazing class lined up for you today with Joey Blades, the real Joey Blades on Instagram. Joey is an educator and an ambassador for us. I always love having him on because we get to learn a lot about barbering, and I get a front row seat because I'm selfish like that. So again, if you're just logging on, we do want you to ask questions. This is an interactive class. This is for you. It's about you and not us. If you're a school, ask away, please. Like that. That's why we're here. I'll be in the background moderating the class. I'm going to turn it over to Joey. Joey, enjoy, have fun, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. As Willie said, my name is Joey Blades. I'm from Rochester, New York. And if you don't know me, you can go on Instagram and type in The Real Joey Blades, and you'll find out everything you need to know. Today, we're going to talk to you guys about thinning hair and maintaining shape. So basically doing a fade without turning it into a mohawk. So you got to think. The fade is going to live around the crown before it starts to get round on the head. The main thing that people mess up is they treat this as one section. The top is going to be 3 sections. We're going to have one here, and one here. So this is going to be our shorter hair. This is going to be our longer hair to cover the recession points. So we got to make sure that when we cut this, we treat this as different as the center. Because we cut too short, then we're going to have it way too far back. So first, we're going to go through. I'm going to use a 1.5 guard closed on my clipper, and I'm going to make the guideline around the crown. This is going to separate the scissor work or shear work from my clipper work. It's going to go straight around. I'm not doing no dips, nothing higher, just a straight line all the way around the head. So when I make my guidelines, I like to make sure you're not going to see me flicking off, because I rock off the head when I'm fading. So a guideline, yeah, questions, don't have a questions. My guideline is going to be a sure, definite stroke up to the line of demarcation around the head. If you have a nice, sure, balanced guideline, you're going to have a sure, balanced fade. That's the way it works. So all the way around.
So Joey, someone asked, you're not making that typical like C shape or U shape you usually do.
No, I'm not. That's exactly what I meant. So I'm going to use C shapes for when I'm doing the fade. I might not even use them in this cut. You might see a couple, but Mainly, I'm going to be doing just regular strokes up and down because it's going to be a shadow fade. So I'm not going all the way to the skin. I typically do more C shapes or more scooping when I'm doing a skin fade. So in this case, I don't really need it as much. And there's different ways too. My way might not be the way that works for you. But hopefully from this class, you'll be able to take at least one thing home with you that works just for you. I've taken multiple techniques from multiple different barbers, hairstylists, and I kind of threw them into mine and made my own stuff with them. Not exactly how they do it, but similar. So once we got that done, I'm going to come in with my half guard, 0.5, 0 guard, many different names, but it's a 1/16 guard. That's what it is. I'm going to go to the natural fade point, which is where these 2 points meet right here, this curve and this straight line. I'm going to do my half guard there. Again, no dips, straight across. This is going to be the lowest point of my fade. I'm not going to go through with any shorter guards except for when I fade out the back. I typically like to fade out the back of my clients' heads because it gives it more of an even look when it grows. If I was to make it square or round, you're going to see that line and you're going to see a bunch of fuzz around it in like 2 days. I don't like that look. So I fade it right out so it just grows in naturally. That's my preference. It's a lot of my clients' preferences as well. So. Now you're gonna say I got 3 blocks, right? 1, 2, and 3. This is my border. This is my fence. I cannot cross over this crown without anything but scissors, shears. Everything that's clipper is gonna be below it. You gotta stick to the rules.
For those of you who are just joining us, thank you. We're with the real Joey Blades today. We're talking about specifically barbering, clippering, shear work on hair that may be thinning, or maybe the person's much like myself and they have a receding hairline. So how can we accommodate those hairlines?
Yeah, today's society, I mean, if you look back at your grandpa, your dad, you always see they got the horseshoe and they just go get it trimmed up, whatever. Today's society, I don't know, people don't have the confidence for that no more, so they just shave it bald. You don't have to shave it bald. Although bald is a style now, but you still have to know how to work with people that are thinning without just saying, hey, it's time, let it go. You lose clients that way.
I think that's great. What the point you're making, Joey, which is, talk to your client, ask them, figure out how confident they are, what they like, what they don't like. You don't always just have to shave it bald. There are ways to help.
Learn how to do the hair units, toupees, whatever, if that's what they want. The next step I'm going to do, I'm going to go in with my half guard open, all the way open. And I'm going to start cleaning up. This is where I'm going to do the C. So I'm actually just going to come in and I'm going to whip the clipper out as I get into the darker hair without going above this guide. It's the main point. So I'm in. Not really making any lines, but it's slowly cleaning up the area that I'm cutting and it's slowly erasing the lines. So basically, I'm letting my clipper leave off the head right at the parietal ridge. That's a good reference point to keep in mind. You'll see me comb a lot because I like to comb off the hair that I already cut away from the head. It's always nice to have a neat, clean surface of what you're doing. So now I'm gonna close my half guard just a little bit, yeah, tad bit. Same thing. I'm leaving the head. I'm not making any lines. I'm slowly erasing the line that I put there in the beginning. Now I'm gonna come with it a little more close. Now I'm gonna use not the whole blade. I'm gonna use the corners. So now I'm actually just erasing the line that I put in. It's easier to use the corners because you have more control of how many hairs you cut. If I come in with a whole blade, it's gonna be this wide of a section that gets hit. So if you make a mistake, it's a bigger mistake than just using the corners. We all make mistakes.
Fantastic explanation.
Sir, any questions out there? How we doing?
We're good so far.
All right. I mean, on camera, it may look like I'm using the whole blade, but I promise you, it's just the corner. I personally like to save the scissor work or shear work last. I'm not sure why, but it's a little habit of mine. Everyone's got their own ways of doing things. As long as you don't do it first. You got to know what you're cutting into. If I was to do it first, I'd have no idea what any of this is. I don't know what guard, I don't know what length. If I do it last, I know this is a 1.5 right there. So our main focus on this haircut is to maintain this shape or this weight in the side right here. I don't want to collapse it too hard, and then it's gonna be left with these really long hairs and look like a mohawk. All right. Now we're gonna move to the neckline. When I taper something out or fade it out, I like to make sure I keep it all in the nape and I don't go above the occipital bone. Once you do that, you kind of get in the family of like a regular fade. So I'm gonna make my closed blade line first. I'm gonna come about halfway up in the nape. Once my closed blade line is done, I'm gonna focus on fading it all the way out to the skin, bald. So now I come with my trimmers. There's no levers on these, so it's just one way bald. Clean up his neck. Now, the most important thing is you don't go too high with the trimmers. So we got closed blade, this whole section. I'm only doing trimmers about 3/4 of the way up, and I'm coming with that C motion and I'm scooping out. I don't want to make any lines. All I'm doing is making it bald. That's it.
We have a great question on Facebook, which is, what's the difference between a fade and a taper?
Honestly, it could be age group, where you live. You know, everywhere's got different names. So older gentlemen, when they come to me, they'll tell me a taper, but what they really mean is that the haircut is tapering down. So a taper just means from big to small, or you know what I mean? So a taper where I live will be a fade here, and it's going to be a fade here in the sideburns. They call it a temple fade. They call it a blowout. Tons of names for it. So for me, a regular fade would be the low guard all the way around the head. So this is still a fade. This is a shadow fade, but I'm tapering out the back. Or I'll call it a blowout as well, because it's to the skin. So it's a blowout, you know. But where I work, the difference is where you actually put it. So a taper is still a fade because I'm fading the hair in the back and the sides. But if someone says skin fade, then I'm probably going to think they want it all the way around. The main thing when you're doing your consultation, those are clear questions you want to ask. Yeah, I'd like a taper. Okay. Would you like it in the sides and the back? Sure. Okay. Or if they say I want a skin fade, do you want a medium skin fade, a low skin fade, a high skin fade, or skin taper fade? a lot of the clients, they don't know as much as we know. So their perception of what they want might be different from what you're going to give them. Thorough consultation is key. So now I'm going in with my open blade. This is a half guard, so it's 1/16. The open blade on the clipper with no guard is just a slight hair shorter. So it's not going to make any lines as long as I scoop out. So I'm going to come in right still below the occipital bone. I'm just cleaning up the rest of the surface. You see it's not making any lines. All it's doing is slowly melting it together, as you would say, as I would say. So now I'm going to close the blade a little more, just a little. That's it. I don't want to make any more lines. I'm slowly connecting the ball to the length of the 0.5. Like when you're doing layers on longer hair, technically you're fading. You got 2 points, 2 lengths, and you have to connect them together.
You could also call that blending, right? If you want it. Like I think it, the same with taper, high fade, low fade, medium fade. It's like when someone says, "Oh, I want red hair," and then you show them red, and they're like, "Oh, that's purple." Well, it's a purple
there's so many different
orange red, right? Consultation.
Terminology too. Terminology is so wide for this industry. Now I'm slowly closing the blade more and more and more, all the way till I get to that closed blade where I originally started. By the time I get there, this will all be faded right in together perfectly, hopefully. There's no such thing as perfect, honestly. I've been doing this for 13 years. About a month ago, I gave a client a bald spot. It happened. So now I'm coming in more with the corners of my blades, because I don't want the whole blade. I want to just pick apart the little hairs and dark spots. Now it's going all the way closed. Okay, now I'm going to come from my edge up. The main thing when you're edging someone up, you don't want to push back their hairline. You don't want to go way up in their head. You literally want to go to the natural line and just tap it and clean it up. That's all we're doing. When you come around the ear, you want to make a nice, smooth, round motion. Not everyone has the same density behind their ear. Some people might have where there's nothing there. You still got to pretend that they have a full, dense section right here. So coming in, keep your clippers nice and straight. You're not turning them. You're not turning them that way. They're going to be straight. The only way these clippers go is like this. You can change your hand. You never change the clipper itself unless you're doing a design or something. Always keep it nice and steady. You're not pressing either. I'm literally going in and I'm just letting the machine do the work. Once you start pressing, that's how you start cutting people, or they got red welts on their neck. It's not a good look when they leave the shop like that. Now, I like to use my middle finger to hold down his ear. I'm slowly making that C shape. As you see, I'm turning my hand. The clipper's staying the same way. I'm not changing the way I'm holding it to do it. It's just boom, ear, slowly come around. Something to the front. Using the corner. You got to be real careful, because when you come around people's ears, it seems a lot softer, and these blades can actually pinch it, and that's how you get cuts on people's ear. Now, whenever you're making lines, you make them with the clipper down. When you're cleaning up the fuzz, you shave up so you don't scratch his neck. Some people got skin that's so sensitive that you just get scratched anyway. But as long as you try your best. Same concept on this side. Tap and let the machine do the work. You got any questions over there, Willie?
No, you're answering them before I can ask them. So you're good.
Well, that's good. Especially going around the ear, you want to be softer with little kids. For some reason, little kids' ear skin, or whatever we're going to call it, is so soft it's like paper. Way too easy to cut them. Now, in here, I'm just going to clean up around it just a little bit. I like to use the corner of the blade. Like I said before, I do a lot of design, so this is like my pencil. So I use the corners only when I'm doing edge up. Tape up, edge up. So many names. Line up. If anybody noticed, yes, I am ambidextrous. I decided to teach myself how to use my right hand because I'm left-handed. Early on when I first started cutting hair, I don't know, I feel like I get stuff more symmetrical that way. So if you're just starting, play with it, see how it feels. It's gonna feel awkward, definitely. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually really convenient, especially with body positioning. You're not coming in like this with my left hand on the right side. So we're gonna go to the top now. So I don't like to sop the hair wet. I'm just gonna dust it a little bit. That's it. So, like I said before, we have 3 sections on top. The receding sections and the full middle section. Am I gonna go and do sections across his head this way? No, because if I cut that all even, what's gonna happen? These points are gonna be shorter. I'm gonna go through and bring my section straight up, 90 degrees off the head. Everything's gonna be perfectly even in each section itself. All right. So I'm gonna do my corner sections first. I'll even draw it out for you. Always, whenever you're cutting the top of someone's hair, comb it around. Wet it, comb it, see where it lays, see what parts are fuller, what parts are thinner. So I'm gonna take a little bit off, just a little bit. Usually when people's hairlines start to recede, they don't grow as fast as the rest of it. Now I am using my
Joey, can you spin him so he's facing straight forward? And then we'll have a better angle of, no, you're right. Nope. There you go. There you go. Forward.
Like that?
Straight out from the mirror. There you go. Now, there you go. Perfect. Sorry to bother you.
Oh, you're fine. So I am using my shark fin pro line. It's going to be my swivel shear. The reason I'm doing that, I like to use swivels on top, so I'm not bending my wrist like this, cutting across. So now with a swivel, I get to keep my hand nice and relaxed. See that? Use your thumb and you just cut along. Watch, I'll show you the difference. Now, since I know my way around a pair of shears, I can use the inside of my thumb and still keep it like that, but most people are gonna do that because they like their whole thumb in there. That's not good for your hand. So
what you can focus here is his wrist and his elbow. See how his elbow stays.
This is my guide here. Now I'm going to graduate it a little shorter towards the back because I don't want it to look like a mop all back here. I want it to be nice and soft. That's done. Now we work our middle section. Same thing with the middle. All I'm doing is nipping the ends. Because when I comb it all forward, my main focus is that it's all still has a nice full bang. We're not way short on the corners and long in the middle. So that's going to be my main focus.
This is if you're new and you're seeing this. This is an amazing thing to see early on, because a mistake that's really easily made, and I did it for a long time,
Oh yeah.
was not separating the middle section from the sides, and then you cut it too short, and boom, the whole shape is gone.
Shape is so crucial with haircuts. When you got really short hair, if I'm doing like a 2 on top with a skin fade, I mean, it's more about the gradient of the fade at that point. But when it comes to longer hair on top, or maybe a nice full taper with full hair on the sides, shape is very crucial to how the haircut's gonna look. Now, for the rest of it, that's another thing. I can't come in here and whack the whole sides down and create a square shape by connecting this to that, because I need this hair. I need this weight. This weight is what creates my shape. Once I hit that, it's all going to round up into his head, and it's going to have the mohawk. So now I'm going to switch over to my Pro Plus non-swivel. What I'm going to do is start shear over comb, scissor over comb. We're going to start cleaning up this. The main thing is when you do scissor over comb, you don't use the comb to dig. All the comb is doing is resting on your guide and combing through the hair. Don't come into the guide and start digging into the head, because you're going to create holes. It's going to be a lot shorter here than it is there. There's so many things that happen. All the comb does is glide through the hair, and you cut whatever sticks out. You see if I go like that? No, you cannot.
Go ahead, give it a shot. We'll see.
Okay, so I'm going to bring this up. I'm just going to nip the ends. I'm slowly going to nip more and more. Once I get down, that's when I'm going to come and let the comb leave the head. You got to clean it up before you can go in and do everything. Wherever your comb goes, your scissors go. They live together. So boop, 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 boop. You're not going this with both your hands, both your fingers. Only your thumb goes. That's it. So as you see, I come this way as well, because I get to kind of create shape without taking too much off. I don't want to take too much here off, because then we're gonna lose the whole shape. But I do want to clean it up a little bit. How are we doing question wise, Willie?
We're solid.
Awesome. So as you see, as I start to cut the ends, it starts to form how I want it. Now I'm going to start cutting more into it. Now I'm not going to cut the hairs right here. Now I'm only going to cut the hairs here. That's it. Now, a lot of people will come in with like a texturizing shear, blending shear, and just start whacking away. You don't want to do that, because all that does is thin the hair, and you lose the shape with that. You can use texturizing shears to create shape, yes, but it'll also deflate the shape that you're creating. So I like to use just regular straight blades and actually cut precisely the length of the hair to make it fade or blend in. We don't cut corners.
Hey, Joey, try spinning him a little more so his back is to us. There you go.
Okay.
Now go. We might be able to see a little better. Yeah, you can see the comb, the position of the comb and the shear better that way.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going for the back. It's the same concept, even more for the back, because you ever see someone with a real flat head because they shaved it way too high up? It's not good. His head has real pronounced bone here, and then it starts to go in towards the top of his head, towards the apex. So I want to maintain the hair so it kind of keeps that nice round shape in the back. So I'm not going to go high with it. I'm just going to slowly feather it away. I'm just blocking it. A lot of people like to do the clipper over comb method. Me personally, I like to use scissors or shears because what happens is with the clippers, you're going in and you're putting blunt cuts, real harsh blunt cuts throughout the whole blend of the cut. And with scissors, it's a softer, more feathery look to it. Especially if he's got hair on top that's softer or thinning, you don't ever want to put hard, flat lines because it's going to show. You want to kind of make it all flow together softly. Now, if you do something to one side, you must do it to the other. So I'm going to use the same steps I just did on the next side. Once I get there. I'll let you see it. So now you're going to look straight. Now you see the shape.
Very nice.
So now if you look, this side obviously is hanging out. Got a ledge on there because I didn't fade it yet. But this side is nice and smooth. It's contoured to his head. The main thing with hair cutting, especially short hair, is that it's tailored to the client. A lot of people do the same cut on everyone. You can't do that. Everyone's got different head shapes. Everyone's got different hair textures, different hair density. You have to make sure that it's tailored to your client who you're cutting right now. So same thing again. I'm going to come in, slowly nip the ends. Very slowly. All I'm doing is cleaning up this crown area to get ready to melt the fade together. Same thing. Now I can cut more. Now I'm actually just going to whip the rest of the line out.
When you're working in the shop, Joey, what are you usually running time wise for a haircut like this?
Pre-COVID, I was every half hour. This is actually my best friend. So he's a landscaper. He cuts my grass and I cut his hair. So usually I think, what am I, 15 minutes on you? Yeah, pretty quick. I can crack the whip and get it pretty going pretty quick. But now with COVID, we have to book a hour per client because we got to clean, we got to do this. Everything is disinfected. So every half hour though, preferably.
I think it's important. It's important for people to know that. Sorry to interrupt, because the classes take a little longer because you're explaining everything in detail, and it's like, well, wait a minute, is this how long it would typically take? And the answer is no. You'd usually be done by now.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been done an hour ago. But anyways, don't get speed, especially if you're still in school. The students, don't worry about speed. Worry about your craft. Worry about your precision. Worry about your system. So you see, I have a system. I have a way I start the haircut, a way I fade it, a way I finish it. That's my system. My system works for me. Might not work for you, but maybe you can take a couple things from my system and add them to your system. That's great.
Perfect.
Once you get your system and you get it clean, every hair comes out great. All you got to do is move your arm quicker. That's it. Get it down pat, move your hand quicker. You'll be way faster. It's such a simple thing, but the way when you think about it, it's like, wow, that's the only way to get faster. There's no shortcuts you can take, no ways. There's different techniques that might cut time down, but you don't want to cut down the cleanliness either. Make it look good and make your hand move quicker. Once upon a time, I was doing 4 in an hour, but that was a long time ago. A lot more energy. I'm old. Same thing for the back. I'm not cutting all this hair. I want that length. I want that weight. So what's the shape of the head right there? The best way to know if your haircut is blended is to turn your client, look in the mirror. You see the shape, especially people with straighter hair. You see the shape straight on in the mirror. I see that it's blended nice to his head. If you look straight, all you see is the gradient of the fade itself. You don't see the shape of the blend. Now I'll lower the chair down a little bit. Double check these bangs.
The mirror never lies.
Yep. Now, I'm not going to have to do much in the corner because obviously the middle grows faster. All I'm doing, you got to think, when you cut 90 degrees from the head, it's going to be where it grows. So am I going to pull these bangs all the way back? No, that'd be over directing this to the back. That's going to create graduation and make it longer in the front. I'm going to comb them straight out the way they grow. Then I'm going to nip the ends. It's like if he had a full head of hair and I was coming through and doing my 1/2-inch subsections across the head, that's the only way to make it all one length. Because if you're taking big 1-inch, 2-inch sections and you're chopping a bunch of hair, you're over directing this to back here. The little stripe in the middle is going to be the shortest. It's going to be long, long. Always make sure clean sections, no more than a 1/2 inch when cutting hair on top. That is crucial. Then you come through and cross check after. And if you did a good job, did it correctly, it won't be much to cut when you cross check. Here's like curling up. All right. How we doing question wise? What do we got over there? Ask questions. Don't be scared.
We're good, man. It's a great class. I think you're doing a great job of explaining everything. So don't take the lack of questions as a lack of interest.
We're gonna see close now. You see,
Nice.
we call them the fangs. The fang sections, nice and long. We maintained our shape throughout the cut, right? Now the thing, if someone's thinning in the front, they're usually thinning in the back as well. So you're gonna see this like halo. Don't worry about that. Pretend the hair is full. A lot of people go like, oh, let me blend this in a little. No. Make sure it's all the same length. You can't change. Hold on, let me do this gimbal thing. Okay, not working. See, shape's there, top's there, fade's there. I believe that's it.
Great
How's it
stuff.
look, guys? Any
Good.
thumbs up in there? Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you guys came and watched. Hopefully you learned something. I mean, if you didn't, take something home with you. Take a little tip, maybe the way I held the clippers, and hopefully it helps you in your future.
Great class, Joey. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Real quick, Joey, you have a promo code if anybody buys a
Yeah, I do. So if promo now is it 2 free texturizing shears with the purchase, right?
Yes, anybody who buys a shear from our beauty line using your code gets 2 free texture shears and a free razor.
Yes. And if there's any barbers on here, I know even before I knew like about shark fin like that, for some reason I'm like, oh, grooming, it must be like barbering. No, it's not. Make sure it's the beauty line. Grooming is dogs. So go in the beauty line, any shear you choose to buy. If you put in code JA, you will get 2 free texturizing shears with your purchase. You can't beat that with a stick.
Nope. 2 free texture
Yes,
shears and
ma'am.
a free razor with any beauty line
Yep.
purchase. The promo code is the letter J and the letter A.
That is the one.
Awesome,
And
bro.
then
Thank you so much. I can't say thank you enough.
Yeah, for sure.
And you guys have a great day. Enjoy your skateboarding.
One last time before, if anyone forgets, the real Joey Blades on Instagram. Any questions pertaining scissors, how I did this haircut, or any other haircuts, I'll be more than happy to answer them. So,
Have a great day, guys. Be safe.
You too.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
All right, leave right here.